Before filling the silk processing machine with water and working with silk cocoons, it is essential to check the tension of the belts and the level of twist achieved with the tensioner adjustment. To do this, place 4 spools of different colored threads in the 4 unwinding tanks located on the left side of the machine when viewed from the front. Each thread is passed through the guides in the corresponding tank and brought together into the tensioner's intermediate space. The 4 threads, now joined, are then passed through a channel using a suitable tool and threaded through the eyelets as needed. At the winding arm, the joint ends of the 4 threads should be attached to the cone using adhesive tape. The cone is then manually rotated to ensure that the threads are properly placed and secured, preventing them from detaching when the motor is activated. You should observe the operation of the pull aids and ensure that the threads are twisting as they pass through the tensioner. Cocoons are sorted into groups of similar size. Rigid cocoons are selected, while double, misshapen, soft or damaged cocoons are discarded. Those with stains can still be used. Manually remove the external filament to prevent them from tangling during the subsequent steps. To soften the cocoons and their filaments, they are treated in hot alkaline water. This is done by soaking the cocoons in a solution of baking soda, using 1 teaspoon per liter of water. The solution is heated to a boil on a stove or burner. The cocoons should be fully submerged and held down with a suitable tool for a few minutes in the boiling water, depending on how long they have been stored. You'll know the cocoons are ready when their appearance changes from dry and white to a moist, opaque surface without losing shape or firmness. Before turning on the machine, fill the main tank with water until it reaches the half capacity of the unwinding tanks. Press the main power button and use the temperature control to heat the water around 50 degrees. At this temperature, the cocoons can be unwound, and the risk of burns is reduced for the user. After treating the cocoons in the baking soda solution, they are divided into groups to form a thread. The number of cocoons used will depend on the operator's ability to handle them. They are distributed equally among the 4 unwinding tanks on the left side of the machine, with a maximum of 25 cocoons per tank, and the water is heated to 50 degrees. Using a toothbrush, the surface of each cocoon is gently brushed to locate the main filament. The filament is then guided through the moistened guides and carefully threaded through the spirals in the 4 unwinding tanks on the left side of the machine. In the far right tank, a reserve set of treated cocoons should be prepared, immersed in water at the same temperature, with the main filament of each cocoon treated into the guide. These are used as replacements if a filament breaks during the unwinding process. The filaments from the 4 left-hand tanks are brought together and passed through the tensioner, positioned in front of the channel leading to the winder. Using a pencil or similar tool, the filaments are passed through the channel and secured onto the winding arm, threading them through the eyelets, starting from the base and ending at the tip. The filaments are then attached to the cone by manually rotating it until they are securely adhered for spooling when the motor is turned on. Once the filaments are attached to the cone, turn on the motor and use the speed control to rotate the winding arm. The operator should observe the movement of the cocoons in the tanks and the winding action on the cone. At this point, the cocoons being unwound should move as the filament is pulled, while any cocoons not unwinding will float to the front of the tank. These cocoons should be replaced with the reserve cocoons from the fifth tank to maintain the consistent thickness of the thread being formed. If the cone requires coverage in different areas, the winding arm's eyelet can be adjusted. Continue this process until the cone is full, and then it can be replaced. The threads can be transferred from the cones to form skeins using the rotating cone holder. To twist the threads and increase their thickness, two cones are placed, one in each unwinding tank without water, and the thread from each cone is passed through the guides, the tensioner, and the winding arm. The two threads are then twisted together on the cone to form a single thicker thread. Before and after using the machine, it should be cleaned to prevent any residue from the sticking to the filaments or threads that are going to be processed. Adjust the guides as needed to facilitate the work of the operators, ensuring that the spirals are positioned at the center near the controls so that the cocoons to be unwound are concentrated there. At the start of the unwinding process, attention should be given to the tensioner, as the degree of thread twist will depend on its adjustment. Occasionally, the bearings on the oilers located on the pulley shaft for the cone should be lubricated. The rotating cone holder is used when forming skeins. The cones with thread are placed on it. The rotating cone holder is used when forming skeins. The cones with thread are placed on it and oriented toward the direction where the skeins are being formed. The thread is secured to the skein holder, which is then rotated to form the skeins.